Welcome to That's Why We're Friends,
the podcast where we laugh a lot, talk about real life, and hold on to faith through it all.
We're two friends navigating the oldish season of life and celebrating the kind of friendships that make it all a little easier.
So whether you're feeling overwhelmed, hopeful, or just need a laugh, this podcast is for you.
Pull up a chair and join the conversation.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Kara.
How are you doing?
I am doing really well.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really good. Yeah. I'm loving like a little bit cooler mornings, a little bit cooler evenings.
I am
it's
as
been
well.
really fun this week, last couple days.
Yes.
Although it was like, it's only slightly cooler in Texas, and yet I felt like I needed a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I immediately was like, I need a hot bath every day. All my winter routine things started popping into my brain. So we're not really there yet at all, but anything we'll take that feels, that's not 100 degrees, we feel like means fall's coming.
Right. And we've had these random rains, which you and I experienced last week.
That was a deluge. That was not a rain. That was a monsoon, a typhoon. I don't know. But rain is not the appropriate word for what that was.
Okay. Well, it was raining so hard. We went on a walk with our dogs, and your poor little dog, London, that was his first time to meet Scout and go on a walk, and he was like, "What are you doing to me?" We thought it was just like going to sprinkle for a minute.
Yes.
So we started out on this walk, and it poured, and it poured so hard we couldn't see, like my contacts were floating around, we were just dripping, and then there was a cold wind,
and I had to pick up London and carry him that
like last half.
Yes, he had just gotten groomed the day before, so I had to go home and basically self-groom him. We've got pictures, we'll have to post them when this episode comes out. We'll post the pictures to Instagram so everybody can see, because it was quite, and they were so cute before we took a picture of them before we walked, and then the after, and it's very comical.
Yeah, it was comical. It was a lot.
Drenched.
It was a lot.
Drenched. So today's really exciting.
I know.
It's not just me and you in here now.
No.
We have an awesome friend. So today we are joined by the fabulous Suzanne Manning. For those of you who don't know, she is the co-founder of Crazy Cool Family, which is an incredible ministry we're going to get to hear about. She is mom of 7. She's a yaya to how many sweet grandbabies?
8, 2 more coming in October,
wow.
So 10. I'll be double-digit grandma over. Yeah.
You taught those kids to go forth and multiply.
Absolutely. That's what their mother did. When you start with 7, you can only
you can only go from there. Well, she is also an incredible mentor, author, an encourager of parents and families everywhere, along with her husband, Don. They, for 30 years and beyond, they've been helping families build a Jesus-centered culture where relationships thrive. And so we're super excited to have her with us today to talk all things oldish and all things marriage and family and what that looks like in this season and all the transitions and just all the things. So welcome. We're so excited that you are here. Thank you for jumping in this crazy train with us.
Yes, I'm so excited, and I love your podcast. I love your idea. I love That's Why We're Friends, and you are two of my very favorite people in the whole world. And the funny behind the scenes stories, they asked me to be on the podcast, and I'm like, well, what's the name of it? Well, what is it that we're doing? And they're like, why did you even say yes? And I'm like, because I love you. I absolutely love you. And so this is amazing and incredible, and everybody that listens is going to be completely blessed by everything that comes out of your mouth. So I'm honored to be here today.
Well, we knew you were a safe person to ask to be our first guest because we knew you wouldn't make fun of us and you just show up with grace.
I can't guarantee that.
Yeah. Well, in a loving way.
Absolutely.
For sure. But for people who don't know you, I just want to say, you are such a wise discerner of situations. Mm-hmm. You, I'm sure, don't even remember, but when our kids were at the same school together for a while, and you worked there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And my daughter, Catherine, has dyslexia, and she was having issues, and you have a kiddo or two.
Yeah.
That
I think Michael's in Catherine's age. Were they the same? Yeah.
Right. Was it
grade?
Michael?
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael too, yeah.
And I just remember coming to you and Suzanne, I don't know what to do. And you're just take a breath. Calm down, it's going to be fine. And you just sort of walked me through the steps. And
it was, and she is, and she's a lovely lady, and she's a contributing member to society and the kingdom. Right. I mean, and so she's beautiful. And so we survived, right?
Yeah, we did survive. We did survive.
And thrive.
You're just always a person that I feel like when I've come to you, you always just have like such calm wisdom of like, and maybe it's because you have 7 kids, you have to be calm or the whole world would burn down.
Yeah, maybe so.
So we appreciate you being here for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Crazy Cool Family is the ministry. So we'll start there. For those who aren't familiar, how would you kind of just sum up the vision or even just the backstory, just whatever you want to share to get us going about Crazy Cool Family?
Yeah, so along the way, we looked up and we realized that what we were doing was incredible. It was an incredible gift from God and family. And so we just thought, what would it look like if we were to share that with other people? And our church, Valley Creek, invited us in to start, sharing some classes and stuff. And so that's kind of where Crazy Cool Family was born, is through the local church and through mentoring other families. And so I would say that the bottom line of Crazy Cool Family is to empower and equip parents to raise children that they enjoy, that love them, that love their siblings, and that most of all love Jesus. And so we were seeing that as the product of our kids as they grew up, is that they were loving Jesus. And so anyway, we thought, well, and we've talked to so many different parents along the way that wasn't their story, that their kids were having a contentious relationship with their kids, or their kids didn't like each other, or their kids were walking away from the faith. And so we were able to kind of swoop in and encourage them. So through Crazy Cool Family, somebody encouraged us to write a book. So we wrote a book, and each of our kids they write a little piece in it. So you kind of get to hear from the kids' mouths that we weren't that great of parents. It's not that we were great parents, but that we loved Jesus, and that was what was important. And then that turned into a podcast. And you've been on a, yeah, right? So Sarah's been on one of them. I should have remembered the episode to say it. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll get you the notes.
Oh, yeah.
So you can go back and listen to Sarah. And then that's turned into what we have now, which is called the Playbook, which is a daily email. And so you can sign up for that on our website at crazycoolfamily.com.
Because most of our listeners are oldish, like us.
Right.
To explain to people how your email could still benefit them in this season if they don't still have kids in the home.
Yes, we've talked to so many people that are in my stages now, because those are the people I run with.
Yeah.
And so they want to support us and they love us, and so they signed up for us. And so many times they will come back through and they'll say, I use that on my grandkids. Or I mean, just because our kids have left the home doesn't mean that they're not still our kids.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean that we don't still need to encourage them and empower and equip them to do what they're doing in this journey of parenting, which we all remember was very difficult when we were on the front lines of it. And so I think that as parents, we need to be encouraged so that we can encourage our children that are now parenting.
Yeah.
With fresh new things and stuff. And sometimes we might not even remember what they're walking through anymore, but the Crazy Cool Family daily email will come in and say, bedtime, help it not be a nightmare, and then you're thinking, oh, that's right, my kids are putting their kids to bed. Remember how hard it was. And maybe you'll think of a prayer, maybe you'll think of something encouraging to say.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that. I love that. Being a newer grandma, I'm like...
Yes, how old's your grandbaby?
She's 14 months.
She's 14. Yeah. What's her name?
Lacey,
yeah. That's right.
And I'm relearning all the rules. Yeah. There's all new rules, and for keeping them alive. And
Absolutely.
but it's and I mean, just one, right? And when they start walking and running, it's not chaotic, but just busy.
Absolutely.
It's so busy. So you really do that. I remember when my kids were little, my mom would say, well, you forget. I forgot what, and I was like, how do you forget? How do you forget? This is so vital in your life, but you do forget.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just like with labor and delivery, you forget.
And that's why you keep having
them. That's why you keep having them. Exactly. And so you forget the trauma of a toddler, and the terrible twos. You forget. You just remember how cute and squishy they are.
Yeah, they are cute and squishy. And mine's perfect. I'm sure you're
absolutely perfect in every way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tell my children I love them so much more than I loved you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that I've matured into it. Like I'm not worried how they're going to turn out. I fully and completely trust that they're going to turn out beautifully and they're going to love the Lord. And it's not even my responsibility to get them there. And that's what makes them so lovely.
Yes. Yeah. It does give a lot of freedom for sure.
I wish that we could skip parenting and just go straight to grandparenting, because I think our children would be better off, because we love them unconditionally when we're grandparenting them.
Yeah.
Versus our children, we've got these ideals and these expectations of who they're going to be and how they're going to turn out and how they're going to contribute to society. And our grandkids were like, oh, you can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do with that? You want to play with that? You want to go there? Okay, let's do that. And so it just gives wide open spaces for them to be who God's created them to be.
Well, and I think as a young parent too, I thought it was all on me for who they turned out to be. Right?
Absolutely. Yes, because we're invincible.
Yeah.
And so it's all me. I'm the one that's in control. And as soon as we realize that that's not at all true. Yeah.
Which seems to be right where Crazy Cool Family grew its roots.
Exactly.
You guys realized this isn't actually us doing this. This is God doing it.
Absolutely. And if we could just clear the pathway, and the pathway usually being me, myself, and I, and get out of the way, then I can then present them to God, and God can guide and direct.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to do. We want to come along beside young parents and help them do that. We want to come alongside older, parents like us that are watching our children parent and show them how to help their children do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love it.
It's Crazy Cool Family.
I love it. Okay, on your website, you guys talk about your 3 big commitments, which are pursuing God, building relationships, and creating culture. How do we do that within our family? Talk about when kids are little and when kids are gone. How do we do that?
Yeah, so I think just to simply say it, pursuing God, obviously getting into His Word, listening to worship music, creating an environment where He is present, but just praying. And so our job as grandmas now is to pray for our children and our children's children. We're the one that's paving the legacy for them. And you remember as a busy mom falling into bed exhausted and saying, thank you, God, for this day, and being asleep, And so the prayers are not being put up there. Well, so I don't know about you, but as an older woman, I lay in bed for hours before I fall asleep.
And if you fall asleep, you wake up again. You lay in bed for hours.
That's exactly right. And so I can't help but think that, this time is set aside for me to be praying for the generations and the generations that are coming. And so I'm grateful for the elder people that went before me, my grandmother and my mom, that I'm believing was doing that for me. And so that's the pursue God part. The building relationships, I would say there, babysit. Watch your grandchildren. Yeah. Go get them and send your kids out on a date. I remember being a young mom and looking at my husband Don going, wait, who are you again? And you need to take care of yourself, because there's a house full of other people's needs that I'm taking care of, so I can't take care of yours.
Right.
And so anytime that we could get away, and I really only trusted my kids with very few babysitters and really just my mom. And so as the mom, grandmas out there that we're talking to, clear your path, clear your calendar, I guess, and watch those babies. And then create culture. I guess the number one thing that I would say to us in our season of life for our kids is to pretty much only comment on what they're doing right, and don't bring up what they're doing wrong, because they know what they're doing wrong. We know what we're doing wrong. We know it. The Holy Spirit is in there convicting us. Oh, you said that harshly, or oh, that was rude, or oh, your child doesn't understand. They know that. But if we can come along and beside them and say, I love how you're parenting. I love how you love Lacey. I love how you interact with her. If we can pull up and call up what they're doing good, then that builds a world of encouragement for them to live in. And it's also so much fun to watch them like respond and react when anytime anybody's encouraged. But it's just so much fun to watch them go put their shoulders back and their head held high, like, I'm doing something right. Because reality is, our children always want our approval, no matter what. No matter how old they are, they want our approval. And so let's give it to them.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I remember when my son first got married, I was listening to another podcast and I heard a recommendation on a book called Doing Life with Your Adult Children. And the subtitle is Keeping the Welcome Mat Out and Your Mouth Shut. And that book was amazing. And it's what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is, the author was saying pretty much don't give advice they don't ask for. Only comment where they have invited you in, but I love the way you're putting it, like comment on the positive things, the things they're doing well, because you're right, it calls them up to another level.
Absolutely.
So.
I've even commented on things they're not doing as if they are, so they will.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Prophetically just declare it, speak it out. That's just great leadership.
I love that.
What's interesting, so I was listening to a recent episode of the Crazy Cool Family podcast where you guys were really just talking around marriage. And it's one of the things that y'all actually talked about on that podcast episode was that when we're critical of our spouse or we're commenting on those things, that we're creating a defensive spouse.
Yes.
And so it's the same thing of if we're going to be critical and we're looking to criticize what they're doing at any age, especially, when they're young adults, when they're, transitioning into all of that defensiveness still comes. And so I just think it's also the invitation for how we, treat our spouses, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But really and truly, that's just even as a believer, I think, just how we love people. If we talk about, 1 Corinthians and where it lists everything and, the love chapter and, patient, not keeping a record of wrongs.
Yes.
And so I think that is just a part of the journey in our relationships with everybody. But I love that. Yeah. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I think even with thinking about, empty nesters, because day to day it does look different with when you're around the kids and when you're maybe around the grandkids, if they're there, of culture creating, there's certain rituals and things that you can do, like when your kids are little and when they're in this stage. But when you are an empty nester, when the kids really are in that next season, but there are still things that you can do to create that culture, live that out. What are the things that you guys recommend? Because this is the season that you're in. So what do those culture creating rituals look like for you guys?
Okay, so we don't really have them established yet because we are brand new empty nesters. We just dropped our youngest son off like 2-3 weeks ago, so brand new. I guess when this airs, it'll be about a month. But for us right now, real time, just a few weeks. And so the first week, my children were very wise, and they sent a toddler home with me. And so I had a grandbaby, which then rolled into we had a shower for a couple of the girls that are due, and it was here in Texas. And so another toddler came. So we had 2 toddlers and 2 very pregnant mamas for me to take care of and help. And then we sent them off, and I was exhausted, so I couldn't even be sad. But then Monday rolls around and I was like, oh my goodness, this house is so empty and there's no one, and there's just so makes me sad, and there's no one coming home, and this feels so weird. The end of this era is, we've been doing parenting for 36 years. And so it's like, wow, it goes so fast. And mamas, all of you out there that are in our season of life, you look back and it just went so fast. And while there is sadness, there's also so much excitement and freedom. There's so much freedom. And so we haven't really built it yet. The realization that we have come to, though, is that having all of these kids, their activities dictated our time, right? You remember that?
Yes.
You remember that what they were doing, we were doing. And their activities were what John and I had in common. It's what our little marriage was built on, or our big marriage, or our old marriage, whatever. And so to have that be completely gone, we looked up and we're like, okay, now who are you again? And what do you like? And what do we like together? And so we even had the conversation. Well, what do we want to do? Do we want to travel? Do we want to go see museums? Do we want to go to, the botanical gardens? Do we want to go on a hike? What are we going to do that's going to be interesting for both of us so that we can have something in common other than the children? We do not have the answer to that yet. We do not know. Have you guys? Because y'all have been empty nesters longer than me, and so give me some advice on that.
Well, I think that's a great step one, though, because I think you've already got this next playbook edition started. Yes. Because I think that's the thing of just looking at one another, not just
do I like you? Oh, I do.
Right.
Yes, that's good.
And not just continuing going kind of in these separate directions, but of intentionally coming back together, sitting down, acknowledging, okay, so then because what you liked to do together when you were dating, obviously, like that was a minute ago. And so the
Exactly.
world looks different, everything.
Absolutely. And we only had a short amount of time, you know, because we whatever children, you know, if you're, you know, anyway. Versus
We started
we've
with
got the whole
8,
weekend.
10, and 11, you know,
Yes,
we,
exactly.
so
I
this
can't
is
even
our
imagine.
first time. So we called it, so last fall was our youngest was a freshman in college, and so we called it our spontaneous era because
Love it.
you know, the first half of the year we'd had, you know, Paul had some health issues, and so we were just kind of landlocked, homebound until, you know, September, October. He was feeling a lot better, and so we knew like sports was something that we kind of carried through because, you know, the kids all did some sort of like sport or something, and we both enjoy that, just watching. You know, we're not out there like on a softball league, but we like to watch the sports, and so that was an easy one. And then, you know, he endures travel and enjoys it once he's there. I love travel, and so that's a good one. But we, just for various reasons, because I can't remember if I've talked about this in one of our episodes before, but we had flight tickets that were going to expire, that we had to kind of make a decision real quickly if we were going to use them or just let them go. And so I remember texting Kara, actually, because it was a Friday, and it was like, okay, I think we might go to Hawaii on Monday. Like, this was Friday, and we ended up booking a flight to Hawaii on Monday because we had these basically free tickets we'd paid for something else that we weren't able to do. And so that was like this, because I'm not that person. And so for us, what we found last year was and it actually kind of even reminds me of something that our pastor, we're all at the same church, kind of kicked off this fall with, of the idea of like saying yes, and so we kind of have embraced that in this season of like just saying yes, because
That's good.
we actually have the time, and we may in our brains still think that we can't just say yes to things because, well, when is practice, or when is this game, or when is that tournament? And so we've just said yes to a lot of things, like last minute, like just kind of random. And it's been fun. So we've enjoyed it, but I think that conversation is just so huge, and finding those common grounds and deciding, you know, what are we going to go do together? And then what's okay for you to go do and enjoy by yourself? And what am I going to go do and enjoy by myself?
Yeah, the by ourselves part we have down. Because I was even, you know, reflecting on that, thinking about it, because we did have all the kids going in all the different directions, and so it was 100 miles an hour. And so if we did have any available time, we would usually take it. He would go work out, or he would watch something, or I would read a book, or we would do our individual time. And so that's what we found to be that first week of empty nesting. We had all this time, and so our default was go do what we do. You know, so I, you know, read through a whole series, you know, and he, you know, did whatever it is he was doing. He plays pickleball, and he hikes, and all the things. And so we look up about a week later, and we're like, oh, that's right. We live together. Yes. Oh, that's right. Okay, we need to do some things together. And so, we're on the brink of that. But I love the just say yes. I love that. I love the spontaneity.
Yeah,
era.
our spontaneous era.
Spontaneous. That's the word. Spontaneous error. I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Jeff and I have had some conversations recently. I will say, I feel like we were very blessed because of the job he does. He works with a lot of couples who are this age, right? And he has, like, his whole career. He's been in the same career since we got married. And he noticed a pattern when Connor was early high school. All these couples would just be chugging along, and the last kid would leave and they'd get divorced. And it is a very sad reality because everyone's created separate lives. The kids were the glue. The kids were the distraction. The kids were the thing. And so he was I remember, like, Connor was probably in 10th or 11th grade. He was like, we are going to start dating again. We are going to, like, really be intentional about this relationship. So good. Because we're not going to have our last kid leave and then there be a problem. And there were still problems, don't get me wrong. Like, we totally still have our issues. But one of the things that even recently I'm having to learn and fix on my own, like my part, is that I started a business when our son was a senior in high school, and it's growing, and I'm getting busier, and I'm doing more things. And he's sort of at the place where, yeah, his career's like going full strength, but he's trying to unwind his life, and I'm trying to ramp up my life after, taking care of kids. And I was like, woohoo, they're gone. Let's go.
Right.
Let's
New
move
identity.
on.
I'm free.
And so I am having to remember to not overschedule myself when he's home.
To be available. I made a major mistake a couple of weeks ago and scheduled myself like something long on a weekend, 3 nights out of, a week. And we had to have that come to Jesus talk where he was like, hello, like we barely get to see each other for 30 minutes at night anyway. And then you're gone, know, and, which is, I'm thankful that he loves me and he wants to talk to me, but also then I'm like, I got to slow myself down for sure. So that we can, we had a that crisis that you're talking about. When I was working at the kids' schools that they went to, and because my plate was full, and we were not feeding our marriage. In any relationship that you have to feed it. Yeah. And we do that pretty well with our kids. We default to feed them. It's just the nurture that we have in us. But the marriage relationship feels like, well, you're an adult, I'm an adult, we can feed ourselves. We don't need to feed. But the marriage is an entity in and of itself that has to be taken care of. And so we actually had marriage coaches for several years that we would get on a call with once a week. And then it went to once every 2 weeks. And then it went to check in once a month. Just to kind of talk about and to reintroduce ourselves and to say, okay, who are you now? In your 50s, who am I now in my 50s? We are not the same person, and we're on the other side of raising all these kids. And so I highly recommend that, all you ladies out there, men out there that are listening, if you're at a crossroads in your marriage right now, then get some help. Yeah. Get somebody to help invest in whether it's a counselor, a therapist, a coach, whatever it is that you choose. Get an outside mediator to come in and help you see each other the way God intended when he gave you to each other initially.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, that's very good.
Super helpful. I mean, we were never going to get a divorce, but we were headed in a live individual living life.
Yeah. Glorified roommates.
Yes, glorified roommates. Exactly. Yeah. We were never rude to each other. We never fought. I mean, it was nothing like that whatsoever. We just were not connected. Yeah. And so it's worth it. It's worth it to invest the time and the money to reconnect with that relationship. The person that knows you better than anybody else.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully, right?
that is the goal. Let them know you. Get to know them.
Well, and I think it's such a good point too. Just I think I can say very openly, and Jeff would agree, the first 12 years of our marriage was not great. Yeah. It was not great. We both came in with stuff. We just didn't deal with our stuff. Blah blah. The Lord did amazing things, and over the years, I feel like we've just grown together. We've done well, like our relationship's done well, but we have these like moments where it's like, okay, we got to come back together. We got to redefine. We got to like really.
Absolutely.
We're here so it's just a reminder to everyone that like your marriage is not beyond saving, right?
Right.
There are only a couple of things that could push it beyond the saving point, and just not knowing who the other person is, not having anything in common, them not being the same person you married, those aren't the things.
Absolutely.
Like God can work.
Well, somebody had
that.
said something that we, if you've been married, like each decade that you're married to a different person. I mean, and I know that Don married a different person. He married me in my 20s, and then I had several children. So he was married to a large girl for a while, and then to a healing girl, and then on the other side of that, now he's married to the elderly.
No, you're oldish.
Oldish.
That's our word. That's the
Yes.
To an oldish woman, and I bring a lot of the same qualities that a 13-year-old girl has, the emotions and the
seriously.
And so it's like you don't need to go out and get a new marriage. You don't need to necessarily go out and do that. Just embrace the new being that's being presented to you each year. So
the poor men in our lives, they really have.
I do like what you're touching on, though. It's that perspective shift. Like, can I see this as a gift?
Yes.
Can I see this as like, okay, how can I get to know this new person? What is he like? What is he interested in? And sometimes, depending on where you're at in the relationship, one of you may be at that place ready to kind of start, doing that, and the other one may, not be on the same page or think it doesn't matter. But I do think just as Christ followers, as believers, like, even if it's the wife, like, we can choose to go first. Like, okay, God, like, start praying for your spouse. If they don't think it's important the way you think it's important, start to pray for them, and then just become a student of them. Like, what we would tell young marrieds is, okay, what does he love to do? How can you put him first in this season, rediscover him, and just trust the Lord to bring something new to life. Because obviously, God's the one who's going to make it grow. Because that can be hard. If it's like, I think this is important, but he doesn't seem to be, on the same page, man, just bring that to the Lord and let him do a work in his heart. And you just start to love him the way that God's inviting you to, go do the thing that isn't maybe, on the top of your hobby list.
Yeah.
But of just seeing it as that season is like a gift. And there's a childlikeness to it, I would say, for us. I think Paul and I both feel a little childlike in some of the way, like, not childish. Big difference.
Although that does show up sometimes.
I
mean, for us, I don't know about y'all.
No, it does. But the childlike part of it has also been sweet to see, just especially in him. Like, I think kind of what you were saying, there is something that happens as we get into 40s, 50s. I think our identity sometimes in some ways it can be more secure, in some ways it can be less secure as things are like changing. But I've seen a lightness in us I think when you were talking about kids versus grandkids, whether we mean to or not, part of our identity is kind of tied into who our kids become. And that's part of why we like have trouble not trying to control it, because we think who they are reflects on who I am.
Yes.
And that's a whole thing, but that's where the grandkids are different. We just mine doesn't exist yet. I'm going to pray him or her into existence. So
Absolutely.
Our oldest has been married for a year and a half. And so I'm patiently not pressuring.
Absolutely.
But it's right. Like, I'm not going to be worried about, I'm secure in my identity, obviously, at this age, but also you just learn with your kids and then your grandkids, like, who they are, their choices don't actually, like, determine who I am. So
yeah, that's so good. So good.
That's really good. Yeah. One of the things, since we did mention we're all at the same church, one of the things our church kind of always talks about is assuming the best in people. So talk about, like, in marriage, how does that work? Because just a couple of weeks ago, Jeff, my husband, had sent me a text. I was like, what in the, like, he was reminding me of something, and it was something I never in a million years would have forgotten. And I was like, what in the world? And I don't remember if I texted you or called you, but I was like, okay, can you believe he sent me this text? And she's like, are you assuming the best?
Girl.
I wasn't upset or frustrated, really. I was just like,
somewhere in there was some frustration. Well, wait a minute.
No, I was like, why did what was he thinking when he sent that? And she's like, are you assuming the best? I'm like, you're right. He's just trying to help me. And so talk about what that looks like in marriage.
Yeah. So we have a teaching in our Crazy Cool Family Guide, and it's about relationships, and it's actually talking about the parent to the child, but it very much works actually with any relationship, but for sure in the marriage relationship. So imagine that there's a conflict and you've drawn a line in the sand. And what usually happens is you're on one side of the line and then your spouse is on the other side of the line. And that's not at all how God intends it. What God intends us to do and be is to be on the same side of the line with the conflict in front of us. And we're looking to God for the answer. But what happens a lot of the times is if we're on the opposite side of the line, then we're blocking God. If I'm looking to Don, I'm looking to God, but Don's in the way, or he's looking to God and I'm in the way. And so if we will just remember, we're on the same side of the line. I'm on your team. I'm for you. I'm for you. And so there's times when I will assign motive to Don that is not fair. And then the Holy Spirit will prompt me and say, remember, he's for you. He's for you. He wants the best for you. He loves you. Out of everybody in the whole world, he loves you the most. And the reason that I say that as a spouse, because they have to choose to love us. It's kind of like our kids just do, they just do, because it's childlike, and they just do. Our parents do. I mean, they automatically, it's unconditional. But our spouse, they picked us, they chose us. And so it's a daily struggle, or a daily, blessing for them to choose to love us. And so that's why I say they love us the most. So that's what I would say to do, is just remember that you're for your spouse. You want what's best for them, and they want what's best for you. going from that perspective or that mindset kind of diffuses any of that, which is the same thing that you had, counseled Kara.
She's very good at that.
We've got to surround ourselves with wise friends, surround ourselves.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
I'm very good at what?
Surrounding yourself with wise people.
Oh, yes.
AKA me.
I need wise people because I am very quick to assume and think.
I wanted to ask you, kind of mentioned the podcast. And so obviously you guys have been doing it. How many episodes have you guys done? I
think there's like over 300 now. I know. That's just incredible. Plugging along one at a time. When we first did them, if you go back and listen to our very first podcast, it's an absolute joke. I mean, it's just hilarious. We had no idea what we were doing. I'm pretty sure Dawn and I were arguing in it. We interrupted each other the whole time. There's just not a spirit of unity in it at all. I was terrified. I think I had an anxiety attack before we did it, because I wasn't ready and prepared, and I'm an introvert, internal processor, and so it was very, very challenging for me. But we've come a long way. Podcast 300, piece of cake. When y'all asked me to come, there was no hesitancy to come do a podcast. Absolutely, I'd love to come visit with you.
Clearly, because you came without, us giving you very much information at all. So if someone is listening and kind of hearing about Crazy Cool Family for the very first time, whatever stage they're in, where would you send them of like step one, whether it's a podcast episode or the website of like, okay, because obviously when you're parenting stuff, you might already be overwhelmed. And so the idea of jumping into something when you've got a podcast and there's a book and there's a website and there's the playbook, where would be just like a simple, like, start here?
Yeah. I mean, so I think it depends on what kind of learner you are. So if you're an auditory learner, then go and you've got a rhythm and a system of listening to podcasts, then go listen to the podcasts. They're short. They're 20, 30 minutes. They're so easy to listen to. You can pick what, all the different topics of anything else like that. The one that I think I would send you to it's 100 to 103. And it's the one time that we gathered all of our kids around the kitchen table and just had them. So that if you listen to that one, then you'll kind of get the heart of Crazy Cool Family and who we are, and you'll get to hear from our kids. I value any time we can get our kids on the podcast because they're better than we are. I mean, they stand on our shoulders. We say one thing, but they're living what we say. And so that's exciting. But if you're more of a visual learner, like I'm a visual learner, then sign up for our daily tips. That's our daily email. It comes into your inbox. It's a 1 or 2 minute read. And it's just an encouraging tip for you. And the Holy Spirit is so amazing because he usually somehow, some way manages to send the very tip that you need that day, that you're struggling with, or maybe you failed the day before, or maybe you could possibly be failing tomorrow, but the tip that you read today is going to empower and equip you not to fail tomorrow. So, and you can sign up for that on our crazycoolfamily.com website. Yeah. And so those are the two. If you want to go deeper, if you want to know more about us, then there's the book, which you can get on Amazon. We've even created a couple guides because I'm a teacher at heart. And so there's like these, they're called guides, to guide you, but they're really a workbook. I mean, and I know if nobody likes a workbook, that's why we didn't call it that. But it's just an incredible place for you to take the concepts that we've taught, the pursue God, build relationships, create culture, and process it and reflect it. Ask reflective questions, and it asks you to really just think about it for a little while so that it goes deep into who you are. So you're not just changing your behavior and how you react to your kids, but it kind of teaches you how to respond automatically. And so that's what I think. We've got something cool coming. I hesitate saying, I hesitate it because I don't know the timeline of it, but you guys were talking about Chat GPT and how it's your new friend. He's the only other employee on your docket, right?
Yes. Kevin is our assistant.
Yes. Your assistant.
He's
so
incredible.
Well done, ladies, for working with. Well done. It's terrifying, and incredible all at the same time.
It really is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And I read somewhere that if we do not learn how to use it and incorporate it, we will be left behind.
Isn't that crazy?
In everything that we do, in every endeavor that we do, because it is where, and teachers today are trying to figure out how to incorporate it, because their students are going to use it no matter what. Right. And so for them to ignore it or not use it is, not beneficial. Anyway, so what we have done, we're so excited about, is we've fed all of our Crazy Cool Family stuff, our 300 podcasts, our guides, our book, our I don't even know how many daily tips we've done. We've poured all that into it. So we're hopefully gonna do some kind of like app that's like a subscription type something, not too expensive or whatever, that you could go in and you could type in your parenting question, my kid's throwing a fit, and it's gonna give you your 1 or 2 sentence answer. Because that's, in today's day and age, we are inundated with information. We have so much information. We can just Google the information or Google the question and get the answer. But what's the problem is the answer that comes to us is usually not filtered through
the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. So we're not going to agree with it. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to apply that to my child or my relationships because God's not in it. And so we're super excited that the Chat GPT is going to take all of our stuff and make us sound really good.
I love that. I'm so excited for that. And if people will go to your website and sign up for your daily tips,
then they will be in the know. They'll be in the know
when that app
exactly.
comes out.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's, and really you and Dawn, you really do seek the face of the Lord. So I know everything that you're putting out and creating is really comes, through the Holy Spirit. So that's great. I'm so excited about that.
That's going to be just a game changer.
Yeah, an absolute game changer. For sure.
Well, it's hard to reach parents today. Like I remember, did y'all take parenting classes?
No.
We did Growing Kids God's Way.
We
did Dave Ramsey. We did.
No, I didn't do them, but all my friends did, so I would just ask them questions. So I didn't have to pay for
typical care.
You surrounding yourself with wise people.
See? I'm
not going to do it, but I'm going to learn. Well, and so that's how we learned it back in the day. We went to seminars and all that stuff. That's not what's happening now because people have technology. They can just YouTube it. And so.
Well, and I know too, like my daughter-in-law, a couple of the courses that she's done for a new mom, they're all online.
Absolutely.
So,
yes. Why leave the comfort of your bedroom, when
right.
you can totally watch it online.
Yeah.
And so we've had a hard time trying to connect to parents and try to get no, let us encourage you. It's hard. Parenting's the hardest thing you're going to do, And so what can we do to help you? And so we're excited that we can have a search thing because that's kind of where this next generation is they want to just search the answer, but then be able to have what God's revealed to us.
That's a very youngish thing to do, to leverage technology to further the kingdom.
We have to keep up, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, it's not an oldish thing, it's a youngish thing for sure.
I think that's why we get to say oldish, is because we do youngish things. And so we get to claim the oldish.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are making it up as we go, so we can be whatever we say.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
And if we believe it, it is.
There you go. I like the way
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, you want to do our lightning round?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do lightning round questions.
Do I know what that means?
So that means you're going to give us really fast answers.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay.
There's only 4, but you're just going to give us really quick.
Okay. I'll try. Okay.
It puts you right on the spot. It's like that game where I would say blue and you would say the next thing that came in your head.
Yeah. Oh, I love
lightning
that.
round question.
Yeah,
okay, good. See?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So tell us one Manning family tradition that everybody should try once.
Okay, I would say just the two that come to mind, but I'll just pick one of them. Is one of the things.
You can do 2. We'll allow it.
Well. It just comes from a teaching, and I'm trying to think of a tradition. Okay, I have a tradition. Is and we still do it today. Is at Christmas time we would take. So there's 7 kids, and they would do sibling gifts, and so we would take them to go shopping, usually to the dollar store. Now there's a dollar section at Target and Walmart and everywhere, and they would buy each of their siblings a gift, and they would spend their money on it, and they would earn their money, and then we would come home and they would wrap those gifts, and then at Christmas they would give those gifts. And the meaning behind that is they were way more excited to give those gifts than to get anything, and that's what Christmas is all about. It's not about giving. It's not about getting. It's about giving. And so so that was a tradition, and they still do it today. We don't do Christmas. We give everybody a pair of shoes at Christmas, and that's it, because there's just so many kids, and it's millions of dollars at Christmas time, and but the siblings still exchange gifts with each other.
I love that.
So
That's
that's a
awesome.
tradition. Okay.
I like
awesome.
it. I like that. That's great.
And that was not a lightning round. I'll go faster the next one. Okay, ready, go. I'm ready.
Okay, a phrase you say a lot to your kids.
Okay, Mannings don't do that, or Mannings do this.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's good.
And so it's we call it the family name, and
Yeah.
it brings unity, and it encourages them, and it scoops them into something that we do. And so if a kid was throwing a fit, we'd say Mannings don't throw fits, or we're leaving a restaurant, Mannings clean up after themselves. They throw all their trash away and don't create more work for somebody else.
I love that because that totally creates your culture of
Yes.
what your kids are like carrying forth.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Okay, so this can be current or just at any point, but any just quick at home like date night ideas that you guys have done? Like that's a quick at home date night?
Yes, at home. Okay, so we have a front porch, and so sit on the front porch.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and if you want to do a glass of wine, that's great. If you want to do a glass of tea, that's great. And just visit and just be. And so that's what I would say is what feeds a relationship is time. And so put the time there.
That's
So,
great. That's
if you don't have a front porch, then I don't know, a back porch, the couch,
anything.
face to face. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, current scripture shaping your grandparenting.
So the one that comes to mind is do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that's the one that just comes to mind. The second, the lightning answer that comes to mind. And I think that's just because the world that these kids are growing up in with technology. I mean, the 1-year-old wants the phone, fights for the phone, and wants to have the phone. And so I think that we're going to have to really fight for them, if you will, when it comes to the influence that technology has in their lives. They've grown up in it. It's all they know. And so that's what the world says, but that's not who we are. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that's so good. It's very true.
and it's hard. It's a hard battle. I feel it for my kids that are fighting that with their kids. Because it's real.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so just recap, where can people find you?
I think simply crazycoolfamily.com. Just go to our website. Everything's there. I mean, on social media, we're on Instagram. Come follow us. We're on Facebook. And so do that. I think we're even on like LinkedIn and yeah.
That's not where you operate, right?
We have someone else doing that, not me.
That's
Thank
awesome.
goodness.
We'll link it all. We'll link your book and link your website and everything.
Yeah, podcast.
So, yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, one of the things we do every week, so we want to ask you this week, is we close our episodes with what we're going to do to go enjoy the life God has given us in the coming days. So what's something that you have coming up or something that you are thinking
and y'all
about?
are going to answer it too?
Yeah, do you want to? We can go first.
Yeah,
That helps.
yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of funny because we talked about this in a previous episode, but so we have another friend's birthday party this week or this weekend, and so we were laughing because it's like when you're young before you get married, and maybe when you get married you have birthday parties, and then you don't have birthday parties because your kids have birthday parties and they have parties, your friends have parties. Then, so that is something that's, I feel like, is new and empty nesting, because I don't remember saying no to lots of like friend birthday parties. But now it's like we have all these like friends of ours, having birthday parties. And so we have a birthday party. So we'll go just celebrate him this weekend and have another grown-up birthday party.
Lovely.
That's awesome.
Lovely.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Well, we're in the thick of football season, and we go
yes,
to
the
Waco.
Baylor, yes, Waco.
We go to Waco, so we've got a game this weekend, and we love that.
And so that's what you guys have in common. That's a common thing that you guys
We do, but
love
I didn't
that.
go to Baylor, and so I married into this craziness. But
yes,
I do
yes,
love
yes,
it there.
yes,
I love
yes.
Waco. I love that it's a small town
Yeah.
feel, but it's big enough that there's stuff to do, and we like our football game weekends because our kids are there, and my husband's sister comes, and we just entertain friends and family there. So that's what we're doing in the next couple of days, and we're super excited about it. So yeah.
Oh, that's fun. We are hopping on a plane tomorrow and flying to Fort Myers because that's where my son and his new wife live.
Okay.
And I think that Dawn was very wise in booking that trip so that we were not empty nesters for a long span, so we could go visit family.
Yeah.
And then we have one of the daughters from Arkansas, Madeline, and she's bringing her 5-year-old daughter with her. And so we've got an Airbnb with 3 rooms, and we're going to go to the beach one day and we're going to hang out. And so it's going to be a good weekend surrounded by children since it's been a few weeks without any.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so we encourage our listeners to go enjoy the life that God gave them, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies. Y'all are the best.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for spending time with us today on That's Why We're Friends.
We hope you laughed, felt encouraged, and are walking away with a little more hope for your day.
If you love this episode, make sure to follow the podcast so you never miss what's next.
And share it with a friend who needs a little encouragement, because that's why we're friends.
Some products or services we mention may be paid promotions. Any advice shared should be confirmed with a qualified professional. Our conversations and opinions are meant for encouragement and entertainment only.